Catus, Maximus here. A little review of the Sunex quarter-inch drive impact magnetic socket set. Come in this little plastic case. At least they put the effort to bevel the corners so they're not super sharp. We even have one of these little crunchy Pop Rocks packets. I'll go ahead and eat that. These are pretty neat. They're a little bit spendy. I think these were about 45 bucks. This is the metric set, 12 pieces. I'll eventually get the fractional set, and indeed they are magnetic. They each have a little magnet inserted into them. These are high-strength neodymium rare earth magnets, and so there's two reasons why they are in brass and then pressed into the socket. One, they're ceramic, so they'll just crack apart. They don't flex, they just crack and break. So it provides us a little bit of conformity to help protect the magnet when they're forcing it in there. A little bit of cushioning because they are impact sockets. The second thing, it's nickel-plated. Rare earth magnets actually have a huge iron content, so they rust super easily. So they have to coat them with nickel. If they didn't have the little brass fitting and they just pressed the magnet in there, even if it didn't break apart when they were pressing it in, it'd scrape off the nickel on the flats where it was being press fit, exposing that area to oxygen. It would start corroding and eventually the magnet would fall out. There's been a couple issues at least online, where the magnets have fallen out, and that's just kind of the nature of magnetic impact sockets. It's difficult to get these to press fit in the magnets and have them really stay solidly without breaking them. But I still recommend Sunex because they have a pretty easy warranty. If a magnet falls out of one of these and won't stay in, you should be able to just take a photo of the socket with the magnet that's fallen out, and the Sunex will just send you another one. Otherwise, I think it's a pretty neat set. I really like how they are proportional. So if we take, say, the 5mm here, they have a tiny magnet, medium-sized magnet in the 8mm, even larger magnet here in the 12mm, and if we go all the way up to the 15, it has a really large magnet. So I do like that attention to detail. They're just not trying to use the same size magnet in all the sockets. As far as how these are made, of course, fluted on the drive end, double through holes with a little undercut. I kind of like that traditional style. Even though these are quarter-inch, they have a style just like big 1-inch drive impact sockets. As far as their holding power, I think this is a 12mm. No, this is going to be a 13mm here. Since they are rare earth on bolts with flatheads, they hold. It's rare. They're just super strong magnets. I mean, there's no question. It will easily hold a big bolt like this, even when you're wobbling it around. Just a non-issue. Another thing to test maybe would be washer head bolts with the recess. These tend to be the worst because the head is recessed and it can't sit all the way, but they did size these pretty good. And so even bolts like that just fit excellent. Almost too strong, but not really. This is exactly what you want. What you don't want is the deepwell magnetic impact sockets. Sunex has those, and they just didn't make any sense to me. They're obviously a lot more expensive, twice the price. But a deepwell magnetic impact socket is nonsensical because for the magnet to work, it has to be close to the end of the socket. So if you have a deepwell, you don't get to use it. It's pointless. It's just a long socket because the magnet's still going to be at the very end of the deepwell in order to actually work. Otherwise, they've pressed the magnet way deep into the deepwell, and it's basically useless unless you have certain bolts like this, which you can fit way into it. So I do not recommend getting any deepwell magnetic impact sockets. Always save your money, get the shortwells, and then just use an extension when you need to. There might be an exception for, say, mid-length magnetic sockets if you need like an in-between length. Anyway, magnetic sockets can certainly save you a lot of time and hassle, and I'm surprised I haven't got any earlier, but glad I picked up some now. I'll end up getting these in both fractional and probably 3/8 ones as well. Really pretty handy. So many times when you just want to remove the bolt and just not have to worry about it falling out. It's been years. I've never actually owned magnetic sockets. I can't believe I haven't because they're just so convenient for keeping a hold of that darn fastener. You're working under dashes, cramped engine bays, just all sorts of situations where it's just a lot more convenient that the bolt is really well secured in the socket so you can get up in there, get the bolt started, and not have to worry about the darn thing wanting to fall out or trying to get two hands in there. So I think this Sunex set is pretty neat. Another thing might be nice if they had an option where they had them on a socket rail, because I know a lot of the deal with these plastic cases is a lot of them is for people who may not own a ton of tools, and so it's easier for them just to have a small set in a case. A lot of people actually take these plastic cases and just put them in their toolboxes, but they're just on the same other side of the same coin. There's plenty of people who have, or technicians, who would prefer these to be on a socket strip so they could not use up quite so much space. Anyway, that's all I got for you on these. I think they are definitely pretty neat. Both laser etched and roll stamped, so I appreciate that about Sunex. And once again, reasonably priced, reasonable quality magnetic sockets. I think that's pretty cool. The tool trucks have them, but I was looking it up, and Snap-on similar set was like $200 or something. It was a huge amount of money. So I would definitely recommend these Sunexes, and for people who don't have magnetic sockets, once you get some of these, they can be a real lifesaver. Worst case scenario, you use them a bunch, they rattle around toolboxes and stuff, and they get clogged up with some metal grit. You just use compressed air. That's how you clean them out, just compressed air, and it blows all those particles right off the magnet. Anyway, I think these things are definitely pretty cool. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.